This is Adam Japko, President of DigitalSherpa. Really pleased that you chose to view our webinar. Today we're going to speak a little bit about internet marketing tips for small to medium-sized businesses with a primary focus on understanding traffic creation and converting the highest percentage of traffic to your website. One of the reasons we're doing this is because it's so clear that most small businesses are not really monitoring what their traffic looks like, what the profiles are, and how it behaves, and also, as a result, are not as motivated to develop e-commerce platforms online without the insights into their traffic. The unfortunate part of that, and it is changing over time as we see, is that e-commerce will continue to grow. And while it has been in double-digit growth through 2012, with a significant spike in 2010, it will continue to be in the high single digits in terms of dollar growth in the United States. And it's something that all businesses of any size need to stay focused on. One of the reasons consumers are more comfortable shopping online is that they're much more comfortable doing their research online. And on the left side, you can see that there are now consumers who are spending more than 75% of their overall research activity online. And one of the reasons for that is that shoppers are becoming increasingly trustful of what they read online created by other consumers and people they know. They have some degree of trust with people that they know in terms of social networks, in terms of sharing on other platforms online, and this is the number one place of comfort for consumers when they're trying to find opinions of products and services that they're researching. Consumer opinions that are posted online from consumers they don't know also carry a lot of weight, just as much as the messaging on the brand's own websites. So consumers are just getting more comfortable with what they see online and are willing to do their research online and willing to buy online. So they're comfortable, and then the big question becomes, are you as a small to medium-sized business operator? There are three basic guidelines to think about in very broad terms that will help guide your thinking about digital marketing. First is, can potential customers find your site? And once they're there, are they able to see what they're looking for inside your site? And can they move around easily and with comfort? Secondly is, when they do find your site and they do find the information that they're looking for, are you converting a reasonable percentage of them? And we'll talk more about conversion in a little bit and what conversion means and how to optimize it. Third is, prospects can now spread the word about your site, and you need to be thinking clearly about making it easy for them to do that through social media, link sharing, or actually creating content that links back to your site. And creating links back to your site is really, really important because it raises your visibility with the search engines. So if those are the three basic and broad guidelines that should be at the top of your thinking when you're re-evaluating what you're doing online, there are four fitness questions to ask yourself about how you're doing. The first one is your website traffic increasing every month? The second one is, are you generating a larger number of leads from your website month over month? And do you convert a growing customer list from your website leads every month? And then lastly is, are you analyzing all of these results every month so that you're able to optimize what you're doing and to improve overall results in future months? Do not be concerned if the answer to these questions are no or I don't know, because that would land you in the large swath of new internet marketers who are understanding the opportunity and are looking to learn how. So in looking to learn how, getting a little bit deeper, I want to take you to the right side of this screen and look at the funnel. And there are basically, if you think about the funnel is essentially the capture of your online leads. Before you can capture a lead online, people have to discover you and find your site online. So having predictable discovery around the kind of keywords that are most relevant to your business is the head pin of all web marketing. If folks can't find your site, it's going to be impossible to convert them or to watch what they do on your site and optimize against that kind of those patterns. So web discovery comes in two ways. The best two ways that we can kind of recommend to you is developing proprietary traffic, meaning creating the content that will deliver consumers directly to your site and not trying to share the audience that some other aggregator of consumers, meaning an online vertical industry site or a major paid program and search sites where you're trying to intersect an audience that somebody else is building, but creating traffic for yourself by creating your own content that makes the most sense and it's resident on your home base, which is your website. Secondly is social media, and once folks get off your page and off of your website, are they sharing the content that brings other people that they know back to your website? And that means making it really simple for folks to be able to share what you're publishing online in their social networks and in other places online that are important to consumers doing research in your vertical space. Once you have developed that amount of traffic, all of a sudden you find yourself in this world of, now I want to really manage that traffic. I want to make sure that they get down to the middle of the funnel and I can convert them. So that means when a visitor shows up, how many of those can I capture so I know that they were there and I have their phone number or their email address and their name or a little bit about their company, or they actually buy something from me online or they download a white paper or whatever it may be. And then lastly, once you're converting visitors and you're driving visitors on a regular basis, it's time to think about optimizing against the best practices and the best visitor paths. So what you will start to say to yourself is what most businesses end up saying to themselves, which is, wow, where's the time in the day to do this? I don't have the expertise, and this must cost a lot of money because if I can't figure out how to do it, I'm going to have to pay somebody for their knowledge. So the first thing to do is just to step back and to realize that there are countless ways to drive consumers to your website. And there's social solutions, there's pay-per-click solutions, there's SEO paths, and it can all become very confusing. So the thing to just remember to simplify this for yourself is that when you think about traffic and conversion, content is the key word because it lives at the center of any path you end up taking. So creating the right content and then organizing it around the correct infrastructure on your web pages and allowing it to be spread off of your web pages is the way to think about this in the broadest terms. So here's a few tips about content. First is that blogs have intuitive content management systems that make it really feasible to really populate your website with fresh content on a regular basis. And we'll talk a little bit about fresh content in a second. Blogs are also very search engine friendly, and they present all of your content neatly organized so the search engines know exactly what those web pages are about and can index them appropriately. Third is well-executed blogging strategies will share the SEO benefits that they earn on the blog with your main website if they're interconnected in very simple ways. Fourth is that web content that does get distributed on social platforms like Twitter and Facebook exaggerate the organic and direct traffic results, meaning that yes, consumers can click through to your site from those platforms, but it also contributes to your page rank because Twitter and Facebook are highly reliable sites to the search engines, and when they're referring traffic to you by consumers clicking over to your site, that counts in your organic power with the search engines. Fifth is that when you create fresh and frequent and unique web content, you are doing the best possible thing for you on the web in terms of driving organic and direct web traffic. And just, again, a note on fresh content, the strategy of creating content very regularly plays well in a number of ways, but in terms of the search engines, and this is just a little snippet we pulled off of the Google blog at the end of last year, is that Google is giving preference in their algorithms to fresh content. And just on the most base level, if you're searching for Olympics, you're probably looking for what's coming up in the upcoming Olympics and not the 1900 Summer Olympics, right? So if you were looking for the 1900 Summer Olympics, you probably would have used the 1900 keyword in your search. So Google wants to make sure that the freshest content is presented to searchers, and it kind of enables the strategy for small businesses to use ongoing fresh content creation to generate the best organic returns. And when we think further about building search traffic, we think about this issue that I mentioned earlier of proprietary traffic versus shared traffic. So if you take this cloud and you make believe it's the web, and you have the consumer on one side and your business on the other side, there are really two ways to organically get to your business, meaning through search. One is I actually find your site on an indirect path where you're advertising or you have links on that's a dominant content provider in your sector. And when the consumer finds those sites through very general search words and very popular search words because they have lots and lots of content and rank high for popular search, they have the opportunity of finding your business. But the fact of the matter is that very popular search is only 25 to 30% of the search market. And the rest of the web on the left side and the rest of the search traffic is built around long-tail search, meaning much more specific search terms that allow the search engines to line the consumer's search up with even more appropriate and specific page returns on the web. And the more content you create around the keywords that are important to your business, the more long-tail search you enable. Having that direct traffic is what we call proprietary traffic. It tends to be the highest possible conversion traffic because the searches are specific and your content that you're serving up is specific. Let's step back away from some broad ideas now and let's go into a real-life example. And I'd like to share with you an example of 3 boatyards in New England who are knowingly or unknowingly competing for organic search traffic on Google. One of them happens to be my boatyard, Dave's Motorboat Shop in the middle on Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. And here's Dave's website. Now, it just so happens that Dave is the oldest and most established boatyard in the Lakes region. You can see over 50 years of service. Obviously, it looks like this website may have been created 50 years ago. But the fact of the matter is Dave doesn't focus on web marketing. And lots of small businesses don't focus on web marketing. And we'll talk about the missed opportunities in that in a second. But one of the things that tells you that this site does not have a lot of really focused thinking behind it is the beginning of the story is there are very limited pages here. So if you look on the left side, you see home, pre-enjoyed, links, contact, and email. Those are Dave's 5 web pages. Just so happens that those 5 web pages may not have been updated for 10 or 15 years. In addition, there's no email link here, and you have to click on, there is one, but you see it's really small, that little email thing. It's just not clear to me if I want to get in touch with you how to do that. Secondly is all of the logos on the right side, Yamaha, Mercury, Volvo, etc., have no links attached to them. And so all of the opportunity for outbound and inbound linking gets lost. Though there's no blog attached to it, and the missing rich content is not working for Dave. You know this because when you search for motorboat repairs in New Hampshire, which Dave's business in physical terms is a leader in, he's not to be found on page 1. But if you look down the page 1 results and you look to Faye's Boatyard, Guilford, New Hampshire, they do come up. And Faye'sBoatyard.com comes up, and they happen to be right close to and almost next door to Dave. Their facility and their reputation in the community is much, much weaker. And they don't have the legacy business that Dave's has. But they are more active and thinking more thoroughly about their web marketing. And let's take a look at Faye's Boatyard compared to Dave's. And first of all, you can just see from the presentation that there's a bit more thinking about it than what Dave has put into it. And you can see that on the bottom right, they have an eBay store, and they're linking to eBay, and eBay links back to their store. They have a Facebook fan page where they're sharing links, and consumers are sharing those links off the page. You can see up above on the other blue arrows that they have a number of different links about pre-owned boats and used boats, and they do a really good job. All the way at the top, you can see the number of web pages they have: home, about us, boats for sale, etc. They also have this online magazine, a digital magazine, where they participate in, and there's links back and forth, Jeff Faye's Remarkable McDuff Engine Collection. And then you can see those chaparrals and the Triumphs are all linked to the manufacturers. And then down below, there's further linkage. And a very simple join our email list and capturing email names to build an email database. Now, if I expand the search on Google and I go to motorboat repairs in New England, so it's not now motorboat repairs in New Hampshire, but New England, you're in a more competitive search. It brings in more and more boatyards. Well, the first boatyard that comes up after the first directory, Powerboat Sailboats, is Boatworks of South Windsor, Connecticut. Now, how does Boatworks of South Connecticut find themselves even more competitive on page 1 search? Well, they do it because they're done a few more things than anyone else. If you look at the bottom, you can see there's a link to the Connecticut Marine Trades Association and ACMA. These are all association websites which have very high page ranks and authority with the search engines. And they link back to the site, and that linking value drives their page rank. Secondly is you'll see they have a Facebook fan page on the bottom, and then they have links out to Evinrude Motors. In addition, most importantly, if you look at that green arrow, they update their content daily. And they're updating all of their whenever they get a new boat in, they're updating their pages and so forth. And that fresh content is driving their page rank. Also, they're encouraging click-throughs, and you can see there's a 10% off basic winterization. And so it's creating a longer time on site, which also weighs into their page rank. And it's just creating a more engaged visitor who is not just showing up and then bouncing off the site. So now that we've talked about creating traffic and what kinds of content strategies actually drive better organic search results, let's talk about what we do with visitors when they show up at our site. And that's when you really have to start thinking about conversion rates. What percentage of your traffic are you converting, and are you using analytics to understand how? So to understand conversion rate, it's essentially the percent of the visitors to your site who take an action you want them to when they get there. It could be many things, and for every business, it's a very different activity. It might be the sale of a product. Obviously, if you're a boatyard, you're not looking for the sale of a product when somebody shows up at your site. There's obviously a physical visit involved and so forth. So it might be a request for a meeting. It could be a registration for membership in a group. It might be signing up for our newsletter or downloading brochures or signing up for a webinar. Just getting to your client testimonial page might be a conversion in your mind. It's really any activity that goes beyond simple page browsing. You have to use your analytics to understand how your web conversion rates are developing and what visitor paths and what kinds of visitors offer you the highest possible conversion to inform your content strategy. So now that we've talked a little bit more about prospect traffic, let's really get a little deeper into analytics and conversion. And for that, we're going to talk about a few different specific areas, meaning landing pages, meaning where visitors show up on your site when they enter your site, which landing pages are converting and what content is converting and offering the better rates, and where people are leaving your site. So a really simple way to look at this is I've found this one pretty good property management company who's doing a very interesting job of managing their web traffic and leading them towards conversion. It's called Aimco, and if I somehow end up at the point that's furthest away from a conversion, which is their homepage, I'm presented with 4 options. It's pretty obvious to me whether I'm looking for an apartment or I want to work at Aimco or I already live in an Aimco community or I'm a REIT and I'm looking for a property manager for my community and I want to find out about Aimco, right? And it's really easy to direct me to the right place. But assume that I'm looking to live in an Aimco community. Well, basically, the first thing that Aimco presents to me is, what are you looking for? Where? How big a place? And so forth. And it's not asking me for too much. But notice they're not doing too much right now to try and convert me. They are giving me a small option on the top right to chat online or to request a call, but they're not pushing at me any kind of high-level conversion right now or high-commitment conversion because I'm not a really warm lead yet. I just kind of showed up at this page. Now, if I fill out this page and they present me with results, as they do here, and I've checked the boxes on the top, and they've shown me towards the bottom the rent ranges that are available, that they have 3 apartments I might be interested in. Now they're actually starting to entice me to convert. They may want me to visit that community's website. They may want me to schedule a visit or apply online, and you can see on the bottom right side that I can do that, and also I can compare. Well, if I start to do any of these things, now I'm a really warm lead, and they present me with this. And this is basically saying, hey, we can't talk to you right now, but please give us your name and your phone number, and we will get in touch with you. And then they've captured my lead. And I'm probably much more likely to give them this information as I've gone through their funnel and I've gone through the content on their site, and I'm in the middle of the funnel and I'm ready to be converted. So top leads for conversions are delivered to the highest commitment conversion opportunity on the website. So once you have defined your conversions, it's time to figure out how visitors are getting to those points and which ones are converting. To do that, what you want to make sure of, as I mentioned earlier, is that you're not putting a high conversion proposition in front of low commitment visitors. So you need to check the analytics behind your website for the paths visitors are taking through your website. What pages are they going to before they convert? You want to know where your top landing pages is. In other words, where are visitors most often entering your site? You will be surprised to see that it's probably not your home page. And why are those pages ranking that way? And so then the question is, how do I optimize these traffic points? Again, it's make sure where they're entering most, you have the lowest commitment conversion ops. Make sure that your landing page content is aligned with your arrival keywords, meaning what are the words that they're searching in Google, and make sure that the landing page content that the search engines are serving up is neatly aligned with those keywords, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And you always want to kind of entice more page views and move people through your site, leading to higher commitment and higher conversion. Your conversion page should be your top exit page, meaning you don't want visitors to leave your site until they get to the page that you know converts visitors and creates leads at the highest rate. So to understand that, you have to understand a little bit about bounce and exits. And what bounce and exits are is basically How many people just come to my site and only look at one page and leave? And that's the bounce rate. And then the second thing is how many people exit the site, and when they do exit the site after only going one page, which of those pages are they exiting from? And you can see that this particular website had 3,641 visits, and obviously everybody eventually has to leave the site, right? But they left from 155 different pages on that website. So those 3,641 people left from 155 different places. Well, I want to see the top 10 places that they're leaving from. I want to see what keywords they use to find those pages, and I want to make sure the content on those pages is relevant to those keywords. So the idea is to minimize this bounce rate. This happens to be some analytics on a blog post that I published on a wine blog that I have. And this particular page was viewed 4,220 times through 453 keywords. But you can see that of those 4,220, the number one keyword was Costco and wine. 1,749 page views. If you look above that, you'll see the little red mark that says when people come here, they spend less than half the amount of time the average visitor spends when they visit this site. And when you look at all the keywords, you can see it's Costco wine, Costco wines, Costco wine sales, Costco wine blog, Costco wine review, and so forth. Those visitors are looking for, when they type those words into Google, they're looking for wines that they can buy at Costco. Well, this post is not about wines you could buy at Costco. This post that they're finding that Google thinks is aligned with their searches is really about Costco's wine policy with the wine trade. And that's really of very little interest to people who are about to go to Costco and want to know what wine to buy. So that is a great example of what disalignment is between search words and content. Here's an example of a post that's on a different blog where the customer's intent or the searcher's intent is more aligned with the web page purpose. So this particular post was about the 3 greatest survey questions ever. And look at the keywords that people are searching, the top 10 keywords that deliver them to this page, right? Survey questions, customer survey questions, great survey questions, best survey questions. These are all really perfect keywords, and the search engines have done a good job of aligning the content with these keywords. So let's just have a quick recap of where we are. We're kind of getting to the end right now, and then we'll just look ahead at what's left right now and what's coming up on this series of webinars that you will be able to find online here at Digital Sherpa that follow this intro webinar. So far we've covered how consumers behave online. We talked about how content drives prospects, and then how conversion rates are really important because it's useless to drive prospects to your website and not convert them in some way to leads. It's imperative to use analytics to understand this path of conversion and to track your visitor paths so you can maximize and optimize entry, exit, and bounce rates. And ultimately, optimizing your content to the visitor's intention is going to get you where you need to be. So coming up today, we're going to talk a little bit about off-page SEO and a little to-do checklist before you view the next webinar in the series, webinar number 2, which is about advanced content marketing and on-the-page SEO. And then the last webinar in the series will be how to manage your social media marketing for optimal conversion. So let's talk about off-the-page SEO and what factors actually rank into your page rank and contribute to your page rank. You can see this is a periodic table of SEO ranking factors. Take off on the table of elements, and you can see that it's divided into 4 quadrants: on-the-page SEO, violations, off-the-page SEO, and blocking. The bottom 2 quadrants are bad things that you do that hurt your page rank, and the top two quadrants are what you want to optimize. Let's focus on off-the-page SEO since we've been talking a little bit about on-the-page SEO, and webinar number 2 is going to get into that in more depth. Well, off-the-page SEO is essentially about links, social, trust, and personal interactions that you're building online. Social media, while many companies are still trying to understand how it plays into lead generation and how it plays into their internet marketing, at the most base level is a way to show Google and other search engines that people are interacting with your content off your site. And when humans start interacting with your content, that weighs heavily into the search engine's algorithms now, because they too recognize that human beings can vote for good content by sharing it, just like their algorithms can. Well, how does Google know about this? It's because they track it. And now you can insert code in your share buttons, and even if you don't, Google knows which sites are referring traffic to you. So in this particular site, you can see that Facebook is the number one referring site to this particular this particular website. And when Twitter and Facebook, which have Google ranks of 10, are sending traffic over to your site, that weighs heavily in your page rank. So the thing to always remember is that social media is really at the intersection of PageRank, search results, and referral traffic for your business. So again, our next webinars in our series are going to help you understand why, grasp some tactics, and measure ROI. I want to give you a simple to-do checklist before you view our next webinar. And the first one is determine what conversion really means for your website. Pick 3 different ranges, like I'd like them to view, at the low commitment level, I'd like them to view a gallery I have online. On the high commitment level, I'd like them to inquire about a product that I'm selling online or ask for a in-person consultation. Secondly is look around your website and take a look at what social sharing and linking opportunities you're offering your visitors with one click. Third is determine how often you update your content. And if it starts to feel like your content has not been updated regularly and you're not putting things up there on a weekly basis, start thinking about a blog. Think about what it can do for you. Install or log on if you've already installed, and just familiarize yourself with your Google Analytics account. Just bounce around, click around, check out a few things, look at what your traffic was last month, and look at what it was last year. Take a look at your exit pages. Where were people leaving your site from? Also look what sources are referring traffic to you. Most on the broadest level, how much organic search engine traffic came to you, what component of your total traffic was referral, and what was direct. Take a look at the keywords that people are using to find your site. What you may very well find is your top 10 keywords have some element of your name in it, which means that your website is easy to find when people who know who you are, but it's not as easy for people to find when they don't know who you are and they're just searching for general information about the products and services you sell. And then find what pages are being most often found when folks are searching on the web. This checklist will enable you to even derive more value from our future webinars. Clearly, what we talked about today takes a system. At DigitalSherpa, we have our own system that we're using on behalf of the hundreds of clients that we're executing this for every month. But there is a way for you to think about this to do it yourself, and also you can see there are options to outsource this kind of activity to companies like ours and others. If you would like to contact us for direct assistance, you can go to the DigitalSherpa.com website, and we're offering free half-hour consultations and taking a look at your web presence and at your websites, and we're happy to do that for you. There's no cost and no commitment at all for that. If you're really interested in talking to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. And my name again is Adam Japko, and you can reach me at ajapko@nci.com. Thanks very much, and I hope you found the webinar useful and a valuable contribution to your day. Thanks.